So rather than sort of your typical talking head type video, I figured I'd handhold it this time, seeing as I plan on being a little bit more casual when I make this video. I hear an awful lot of condemnation from people that are saying things like you're too harsh, you're not accepting enough of the feminists that are nice, etc., etc., etc. And I guess probably the best way to address this is to basically be as casual as I possibly can when I say that there is no such thing as a good feminist. I'm sorry, there's not. It is directly analogous to saying there is some good Nazis out there. I know a lot of you don't believe that, and you don't see how anybody could actually have that view of feminism, but that's just simply because you're part of it. You believe in some of the things that make feminism bad. I'm sorry. Yes, that does mean that you have a character flaw or two. It's tough. That happens. Anywho, the long and short of this whole thing is that I have absolutely no interest whatsoever in being nice with feminists anymore. And it's not because I'm a dick or anything like that. It's because of the history involved in the men's rights movement and what has transpired in the past and the path that things have taken and the reaction of people. Essentially what it boils down to is this. In the beginning of the men's rights movement, it was essentially a bunch of guys like myself who were, egalitarian minded. We were what we would call feminists at the time, probably. And we started to notice all sorts of things pop up that just, they seemed to affect men but not women, and they were pretty limiting on human rights, really. And so we began sort of as just little pockets of people, or little, one guy here, one guy there, would start to ask questions, things on BBSs, for example, bulletin boards, discussion groups talking about issues of the day, and people would ask, things from a male perspective. And these people were essentially laughed at and shouted down. Now, this happened for years and years and years and years and years until we reached a sort of a critical mass where there was enough guys out there that, websites started to pop up like standyourground.com or mensactivism.org or Men's News Daily, which is a huge website apparently. glensachs.com, that's another one. These sites have been around, by the way, for quite a long time. It's not just in the last couple of years when people have started to actually notice that they existed. They've been around for a long, long time. So, on these sites, what we did was we debated and highlighted issues from a male perspective, and we said, what the fuck is going on here? How is this getting by all these people who are supposed to be egalitarian, all about equality? And many of us engaged directly with feminists and said, what is going on? How come this is not actually being looked into? And the feminist response to that essentially was fuck off. It was, you don't have any problems because you're a man, and even if you do, they're not as important as ours because you're a man, and we will definitely get around to looking after them once we've solved this, and this issue for women and any other ones that we might have come up with in the meantime. It was patently obvious that feminists had absolutely no interest whatsoever in helping men out. Not on their own. I mean, if they were forced into it, they might. Which I think is actually what we're seeing right now. I think that what we're seeing is we're seeing people going, it is not fair that men don't have the right to decide if they're going to be a parent, but women do. It is not fair that men that never ever met a child are forced to support them for 18 years simply because somebody says that guy is the father. It's not fair that it's being shown repeatedly that these very same guys, are not the father, but they're still being forced into paying for these children, and it's not fair. And there's a lot of people out there that are starting to see that, yes, these things are happening. And it doesn't take a rocket surgeon to figure out that the connection between what's happening in the law and in society how nicely that dovetails and meshes with feminist ideology and with feminist propaganda. People are drawing the connection on their own. That's why the word feminist is generally referred to as a swear word. Somebody on one of these comment threads here mentioned something like how the word being described as a feminist for some men is an attractive thing. And I, honest to God, started laughing. I couldn't think of one. I couldn't think of one instance of any guy that I know that would ever view somebody being described as a feminist as being a good thing. Trust me, it's not a good thing. Anybody that tells you that is probably just trying to get into your pants, really. Yikes. Anyway, so people ask me why I'm always so angry in these videos, or at least forceful in my responses. And the simple answer to that is because it gets attention. Because people take notice when people are angry. Most people don't even know about what's going on. People that are talking on these discussion boards, they are a lot better informed than your average person. So, as an MRA, all I want to do is to get the truth out there, to show people what's happening, to tell them what's happening, to draw a line from point A to point B and say, well, if this is okay for women, and we live in an equal society, how come it's not okay for men? And point out the hypocrisies out there. And the funny thing is that most MRAs, that's pretty much all they do. What they're saying is, if women get this, then so should men. That's all we do. And it's funny, the vehemence with which we're fought by all these people who swear to God that they're all about equality, and yet they fight tooth and nail against it because it benefits men. And here's the giggle here. I mean, all of this boils down basically to, they start out saying they're not a man-hater, and at the end they basically say, well, it's tough because you're a man and that's the way things are. Yeah, you're a man-hater if that's the way you're approaching things. I'm sorry. When I'm dealing with feminists online here, or anybody who wants to start spouting the same tired shit I've been hearing for years, by the way. So if you're here to debate an issue, debate an issue. If you're here because you care about me as a person, I think you need to get a life. I'm a guy on a video screen here. I mean, there's no fucking way that you're ever going to bump into me in real life. And if you do, I think it'd freak me out a little bit. This is an issues thing. This is not a personal issues thing. And if you want to sit there and attack me, or in any way decide who and what type of a person I am, I mean, do it on your own fucking time. This is not about me. This is about men. This is about the issues. This is about the things that matter. It's funny how few times feminists ever respond to the actual concept. It's always, you have issues, or you'll never get people onto your side if you keep talking like this. I'll tell you what, I really don't give a rat's ass if Feminist 1 gets converted over to an MRA thing because of these videos. What I care about more than anything else in the world is that people watch them, they enjoy them, and it makes them think. My goal is pointing these things out to men and to society and to people that don't normally pay attention to this stuff. People who are wondering about what is happening in society. People who are worried about their sons and their daughters' future, their own future. People who have no idea why people are so unhappy. It's not about me. It's about the issues. It's about the world around you. Open up your fucking eyes and take note. There's more than just you in the world. I've already figured that out. That's what these are about. Seriously.